The house was always quiet, but this was a different kind of silence. It was heavy, thick with the things we never said, the words that hung in the air between us like dust motes in a sunbeam. My father and her mother had gone to visit her aunt in the city, an overnight trip that left the two of us alone for the very first time. Me, at 19, with a heart that never seemed to sit still, and her, Maya, 23, wrapped in a calm that always unsettled me. We weren't siblings, not really. Our parents had married 2 years ago, a whirlwind romance that stitched our lives together with the legal thread of matrimony. She was my stepsister, a label that felt foreign and ill-fitting every time I said it. In my mind, she was just Maya, a beautiful, composed figure who existed just beyond my reach. She moved through our shared house like a ghost, polite and distant, leaving behind the faint scent of vanilla and a string of unanswered questions in my head. That night, the sky decided to put on a show. The clouds gathered, dark and bruised, and then they broke open. Rain began to fall, first as a gentle patter, then as a relentless assault against the windows. It was a frantic, angry drumming that seemed to echo the chaotic beat of my own heart. I was sitting on one end of the long living room sofa, pretending to read a book. Maya was on the other end, scrolling through her phone, a small, illuminated island in the growing dimness of the room. The distance between us felt like a mile. Then, with a flicker and a hum, the power died. The lights went out, the low drone of the refrigerator ceased, and the house was plunged into a profound, inky blackness. For a moment, the only sound was the rain, now a roar, and the frantic pounding in my chest. A flash of lightning ripped across the sky, illuminating the room in a stark, momentary white. In that brief snapshot, I saw her. Her head was up, her phone dark in her lap, her silhouette frozen against the window. The world went black again. A few seconds passed, feeling like an eternity. Then, a voice so soft I almost thought I'd imagined Italiano. "I'm scared of the dark." It was Maya. Her voice was different, stripped of its usual composure. It was small, vulnerable. It was a side of her I had never been allowed to see. "Don't worry," I said, my own voice sounding rougher than I intended. "I'll find some candles." I fumbled my way to the kitchen drawers, where I knew my dad kept an emergency stash. My hands, usually steady, were trembling slightly as I found a box of matches and a single, thick candle in a glass holder. Returning to the living room, I struck a match. The tiny flame flared to life, sputtering in my slightly shaky hand. I brought it to the wick, and a warm, golden glow bloomed, pushing back the oppressive darkness. It wasn't much, but it was enough. The flame danced, casting long, wavering shadows on the walls, making the familiar room feel like a secret cave. I set the candle down on the coffee table between us. The light flickered across her face, catching in her wide, dark eyes. In that gentle, golden light, she looked different. The perfect mask of calm had cracked. I could see the genuine fear in her eyes, the slight tremble of her lower lip. She looked real. She looked human. I sat back down on the sofa, a little closer this time. The silence returned, but it wasn't heavy anymore. It was expectant. The candle flame was reflected in her eyes, 2 tiny stars in the darkness. My own hands felt clumsy and large as I rested them on my knees. "You're really scared of the dark?" I asked, my voice softer now. She gave a small, almost shy nod. "Since I was a kid, my brother used to lock me in the closet." A flicker of anger went through me. "He did what?" "We were kids," she said with a weak smile. It was his idea of a joke, but it stuck. And just like that, a door opened. We started talking. We didn't talk about our parents or teachers or what we were studying in college. We talked about things that mattered. The things you only say when the world is dark and quiet and you feel like no one is really listening. She told me about her dream of opening a small bookstore by the sea. I told her about my secret ambition to be a musician, something I'd never admitted to anyone, not even my father. We talked about our favorite childhood memories, the stupidest things we'd ever done. I learned that her favorite color was the deep blue of the ocean just before a storm. She learned that I still slept with a nightlight, a fact that made her laugh. A real, genuine laugh. That was like music. With each confession, each shared secret, the distance between us on the sofa shrank. We moved closer, drawn by the warmth of the small flame and the invisible thread of connection we were weaving with our words. The storm outside continued its symphony, a constant, comforting presence that cocooned us in our little world. I don't know when it happened. Exactly. One moment, I was telling a story about a disastrous camping trip, and she was laughing, her head thrown back. The next, the laughter died in our throats, fading into the sound of the rain. Our eyes met across the flickering candlelight. Until the air in the room changed. It became thick, charged, more electric than the lightning that was still flashing outside. It was a moment stretched taut, filled with 2 years of stolen glances, unspoken thoughts, and the strange, undeniable pull that had always existed between us. My heart was a wild drum against my ribs. I had to say something, anything. "I've always thought," I began, but the words caught in my throat, useless. I didn't know how to finish. "I've always thought you were beautiful. I've always wondered what it would be like to really know you. I've always felt this impossible thing for you." Then she spoke, her voice a mere breath, a whisper that I felt more than heard. "Me too." And just like that, the world tilted on its axis. The distance, the carefully constructed walls, the labels of stepbrother and stepsisterette all evaporated, slowly, as if moving through water. I lifted my hand. My fingers brushed against a strand of her hair that had fallen across her cheek. The touch was like a spark, sending a jolt straight through me. She didn't flinch. She didn't pull away. Instead, she leaned into my touch, a subtle, trusting movement that made my breath catch. I saw it in her eyes then, the same longing, tesamifiar, the same dizzying hope that was consuming me. I started to lean in, a slow, hesitant motion, terrified of breaking the spell. She met me halfway. Our lips met. It was soft at first, a question, a tentative exploration in the dark. And then something broke loose. It was a sudden, desperate crash. It was 2 years of pent-up longing, of silent observation, of wanting something you thought you could never have. Her hands came up, tangling in my hair, pulling me closer, my arms wrapped around her waist, lifting her slightly, closing every last inch of space between us. It wasn't gentle, it was angry. It was a collision. It was the thrill of crossing a line you never thought you'd dare to approach. The storm raged on, a perfect, chaotic soundtrack to the beautiful, messy thing we were creating in that dark, candlelit room. We finally pulled apart, breathless. My forehead came to rest against hers. I could feel her breath on my lips, warm and shaky. The world had shifted. The foundations of our lives had been irrevocably altered in the space of a single kiss. Nothing would ever be the same again. I found a blanket from the back of the sofa and wrapped it around our shoulders. We sat there for a long time, not speaking, just listening to the rain as it began to soften. Her head found my shoulder and my arm tightened around her. Our hands found each other in the folds of the blanket, fingers intertwining, a perfect, natural fit. We were just two people, silhouetted against the window, watching the storm pass. That night, in the dark, with the rain as our witness, we didn't just get closer. It felt like for the very first time, we had both finally come home.